The Community-Based Research Program is part of the Undergraduate Research Opportunity Program, and it is an opportunity for students to work for 10 weeks in the Detroit community at a nonprofit or low-profit community organizations. For this work, they are paid approximately $10 an hour, so they get a stipend of $3,500. In addition, since all of the placements are in Detroit, the students also get financial assistance to live in the Wayne State University dorms. Some other benefits that students really gain from being part of this program are what they gain from being in a nonprofit organization. In and of itself is just a great experience. It really allows students to see what a nonprofit is like in a multitude of ways. They see, how it runs financially, how it works with the community, how coworkers work together, how hard people in nonprofits work, and how passionate they are about what they're doing. So it really helps students to see career options within the nonprofit sector. But in terms of skills, students learn a variety of skills. Most students do quite a bit of literature reviews, and that's kind of essential just to learn about the community that you're working with and also about the issue that you're working on. A lot of students create surveys that they then distribute to community members and analyze to see what is going on in the community and how they can be of assistance and really what programs these nonprofits can put into place to benefit those communities. Students also oftentimes interview community members to kind of get at the same things that surveys would, so that's a really great experience getting to learn about communities from people that are actually living there. Another great skill that students learn just as a part of immersing themselves within those communities on a day-to-day basis is they learn how to enter and exit a community properly. So it's really important to get the community members' first-hand perspective so that you can enter a community and also exit a community properly. So you don't want to come in and help and then just randomly leave, which is an inherent part of this program. It's only 10 weeks. So leaving your organization and leaving the community with something that they can use based on the information that you've told them, I think is something that this program tries to do a really good job of and that our students in the past have done a wonderful job at.
I heard about UROP through a friend who actually went through this program last year, and I was initially interested in something more related to lab work and my major, but after I heard about the community-based research program, I was really drawn into the community aspect of it, and finding myself more as a person who likes to interact with people, it really stood out to me.
Currently, I'm working with the Sierra Club. I'm analyzing health rates and environmental impacts of health in lower income communities and communities of color.
I'm working with 3 Lutheran churches that are actually located downriver. They're not exactly in Detroit, and I'm basically just a research intern. I'm the one who's heading all of the research that's happening. I'm the one who's really doing down in the trenches stuff.
I work with Fresh Corner Cafe. They actually are inside of the Green Garage, and what they do is place their products like wraps, salad, fruit cups, parfaits inside of corner stores, gas stations, and liquor stores throughout Detroit, because they know a lot of Detroiters really don't have access to fresh food, so they really want to offer those foods to them.
I remember on the first day of work, I had to go to my first community meeting, and I had no idea what to expect, what it even was, and I felt a little out of place being there, just because their age group was older. I was the youngest person there. I was a different color, and I didn't know what people thought of me, but it was really interesting because the community was so welcoming and accepting.
They provided and created a safe environment while I was working here, because I started off knowing nothing, and they kind of nurtured me, teaching me with patience, what is permaculture, how can I apply this, how can I interact with the community so that they can take me in.
A lot of the schools that Inside Out goes into is predominantly African American, and these writers that go into the schools are usually not always white, and by observing them, they work amazingly well with the youth. And the reason why is because they don't just go in there right away and start enforcing or trying to bring a writer into a school where the writer is instantly I'm going to teach you poetry. That approach doesn't work in Detroit. I don't think it works with any cross-cultural system or organization, but I think what does work is they would go into the school for a while before they started teaching to hang out with the kids, to get to know them and talk about who they are and talk about who the kids are and be very interested in the youth experience, their personal experiences of the youth that they will be working with. So there's this period of getting to know the people that you're about to come into their community. And then after you do that, and it's almost like, just like when you walk into someone's home, you're not going to just walk into someone's home. You're going to stand on their porch until they invite you in.
So one thing that we did was we held community meetings, and this was an opportunity for us to go out to the community and ask them, what problems are you having? How can we assess these problems? How can we help out? And basically, we got a chance to know the community members personally. We got a chance to see the community members face to face and let them know that we're here to help you guys, and we're here to be assistants, and we're here to assist you.
So like my overall project basically is to show how Fresh Corner Cafe impacts Detroit. For example, like I did surveys, observations at corner stores and gas stations, like 5 to 7 hours, and I did like over the phone interviews. So basically I was trying to see like, like what activity, what regular activity happens at the corner stores and gas stations. And I did surveys to kind of see like what customers normally would eat if they didn't eat Fresh Corner Cafe, or like how many servings of fruits and vegetables did they get, and stuff like, what can Fresh Corner Cafe serve you?
So for my research, because I knew nothing about permaculture when I first started, I began by learning about permaculture, reading tons of articles and reading magazines, articles, books, watch YouTube videos, search everywhere to understand what is permaculture.
I've learned a lot about different types of research. Like I said, I did a lot of normal research before I went into community-based research, and there's a lot more involvement with people and members of the community, which I loved. And I've learned a ton about interacting with members of the community and how to present yourself not as someone who's high and mighty and knows everything, but as someone who really wants to learn from them and listen to them.
I kind of like interact with the community. I use surveys methods, and or kind of like informal interviews, like do conversations with the community here, like with the kids, with the parents, and even with the people who are interested in permaculture.
I think something that's really unique about this UROP community-based research program is that it's a very hands-on kind of learning, and our organizations don't really expect us to come in with all these grand skills. They kind of take what we have and we kind of learn along the way.
Also gotten much better at communicating with leaders of organizations as well. I had to make a lot of phone calls to a lot of very big organizations, places like the YMCA that were near there, in order to meet with them and look at their facilities and get to know what sort of assets already exist in the community. And so that was something that I've never done before.
So I definitely learned to see research into the lens of our community. I focus more on not the reliability and the validity of the results, but more focus on how the results can be applied to the community, and like what is the community needs, and like how is this sustainable, how is this regenerative for the organization, for the community, for like maybe the whole city of Detroit someday.
So Detroit never came into my head as something that was a good or positive environment. Just the media, the news, my parents, people from Michigan. Anytime Detroit was brought up, it was known as, the bad city, dangerous, be careful, kind of a thing. And I've only had one interaction with Detroit prior to this experience. For spring break, I did kind of a service project here, but that was not enough in comparison to this program to get a full grasp of what the city really is like.
So living in Detroit for the summer was really beneficial to me. I really enjoyed being able to explore the city on my own time, go to different restaurants and different grocery stores, and just kind of walk around and really understand things from a better perspective. And I really think that I've grown to sort of love Detroit.
I grew up in a very protected home, and so I was in a bubble. And Ann Arbor is also an academic bubble. So my time living in Detroit has definitely kind of like burst that bubble, all those bubbles up, and kind of like let me explore how to be a grown-up living in a real city.
I'm from the west side of Detroit, so I never was really in Southwest Detroit area a lot. And even at my house, I kind of stayed to myself and the people I knew. But going into the communities and meeting new people, I learned how tight the communities are.
Where there's just like kind of different social identities and historical backgrounds and cultures that I've never known about.
I just want to take you guys and I think you just said, culture and all that. Great job.
It was thanks to her hard work that we were able to come up with a work product that was sort of visionary, but we never anticipated that we could pull it off. And it was a 12-page newspaper.
I have been so pleasingly impressed by all of your presentations. Really, I'm so serious, and it makes me feel hopeful.
I think the three programs fit together in a really unique way. IGR is teaching students how to communicate with others that are like them and also different from them, and that's obviously a really important skill when entering communities that you're not the same as everyone else, you're different, and being able to respect others and learn to listen and just be able to communicate with people that are not exactly like you. And I think the IGR skills that students could gain really benefit them within the community-based research program. And the Detroit Initiative is really great because it gives students kind of a theoretical background about what community-based research actually is and allows them to learn how to do things like actually research neighborhoods to see statistics on them and then use that research to actually help the communities that they're going into once a week. And the thing that's really great is if students get that experience and discover, you know what, I really like going into communities and I like doing this type of research, they can then go on and have a more intensive research experience through the community-based program and, you know, work for 40 hours a week during the summer, and that way they can get an even more in-depth and immersive experience.